I still remember the sound of the spoon slipping from my hand. A dull clink against the kitchen tiles. That was the exact moment my world cracked open. "Can you repeat that?" I asked, my voice trembling more from disbelief than anger. Across the table, Emily sat with her fingers locked tightly together, her knuckles pale. Her eyes, usually calm and warm, were restless, like a storm trying to find where to break. "I said," she swallowed hard, her breath shaky, "I'm carrying Mark's baby. As a surrogate." Mark. Her ex. The name alone was enough to make my blood run cold. For a long moment, the only sound in the room was the clock ticking on the wall. I felt every second drag a knife deeper into my chest. Emily and I had been married 10 years. 10 years of shared laughter, fights, morning coffees, and quiet nights watching reruns of old sitcoms. We weren't perfect, no couple is, but we were stable. If real. At least that's what I thought. We talked about kids many times. She wanted them badly. I wasn't against it, but after several failed attempts and one miscarriage, Emily had retreated into herself. I tried to comfort her, but she began to pull away, focusing on her charity work and her yoga classes. I assumed it was her way of coping. I never imagined she'd cope like this. I tried to breathe, but the air felt too thick. "So, you're telling me," I said slowly, "you're pregnant with your ex-boyfriend's child, out of kindness?" "It's not what you think," she replied quickly, eyes glistening. "It's a surrogacy arrangement. Mark and his wife Claire, they can't have children. Claire had cancer, and the treatment left her unable to conceive," I finished bitterly. "And out of every woman in the world, they came to you?" Emily looked down, shame flickering across her face. "He reached out months ago. He was desperate, Daniel. They tried so many options. The agencies rejected them because of her health. I just wanted to help." "Help?" I laughed hollowly. "By sleeping with your ex?" Her head jerked up. "It wasn't like that. It's IVF. Medically done, not." I stood up so fast the chair scraped harshly against the floor. "Emily, do you hear yourself? You made this decision, this life-changing decision, without even telling me." "I was going to," she whispered. "But I knew you'd say no." That was when I realized it wasn't just betrayal of the body. It was betrayal of trust. She had decided I didn't deserve a voice in something that tore through the very heart of our marriage. I walked out before I said something cruel. That night, I sat in my car parked down the street from our home. The house looked warm from the outside. Golden light spilling through the curtains, the silhouette of the woman I loved moving softly across the living room. And yet I felt nothing but cold. I remembered the early days. The way she'd look at me across the table in our tiny apartment, promising that no matter how hard life got, we'd always face it together. Now she was facing something monumental, and she'd left me out completely. Days passed in silence. I stayed at a hotel, ignoring her calls, her texts. The words blurred together in my mind. "Please understand. It's not what you think. I still love you." Love. What kind of love hides something this big? When I finally returned, she was in the nursery, the one we had once painted pale yellow, back when hope still lived in the walls. She looked up at me, eyes red. "You came back for answers," I said flatly. She nodded, pressing her palm to her stomach. "I deserve that." We sat across from each other again, like strangers negotiating peace after war. "Why him, Emily?" I asked quietly. "Why Mark?" Her lips trembled. "Because I trusted him. We ended on decent terms. And when he called, I didn't think of him as an ex. I thought of him as a friend who needed help." "You still trust him more than me, apparently." "That's not fair. Neither is what you did." Tears rolled down her cheeks. "Daniel, I wasn't trying to replace what we lost. I thought, maybe if I helped someone else have what we couldn't, it would heal something inside me." Her words hit harder than I expected. I'd watched her break after the miscarriage. Watched her go silent for weeks, blaming herself, her body, the universe. Maybe this was her way of regaining control. But still, How do you justify creating his child inside our marriage? I leaned back exhausted. And what happens after? You hand over the baby, and then what? We just pretend this never happened. I sniff. I don't know. I just know I couldn't live with myself if I didn't help them. I stared at her, really stared, and saw a woman torn between guilt and righteousness, between compassion and foolishness. I wish, I said quietly, you had thought about what I could live with. Over the next few weeks, we lived like ghosts in the same house. I slept in the guest room. She went to her doctor appointments alone. I'd hear her soft cries at night through the walls, but I couldn't bring myself to comfort her. People talk about heartbreak like it's a sharp pain, but it isn't. A slow erosion. A quiet, constant wearing away of something that used to be solid. I started noticing little things that now felt foreign. Her toothbrush next to mine, the scent of her shampoo on the pillow, her coffee mug beside the sink. Ordinary things that had once meant love now only reminded me of betrayal. One evening she came to my door. Her belly was beginning to show. "Daniel," she said softly, "I know you hate me. But please don't hate this baby. It's innocent." I met her gaze. "I don't hate the baby. I hate what you chose." Her voice broke. "I made a mistake trying to do something good the wrong way. But I never stopped loving you." I wanted to believe her. God, I wanted to. But love isn't always enough when trust is gone. The baby was born 6 months later. A healthy boy with green eyes like Mark's. I didn't go to the hospital. Couldn't. She called me from the maternity ward. Her voice barely a whisper. "It's over, Daniel. They've taken him." I did what I promised. I didn't reply. There was nothing left to say. A few weeks later she moved out. There was no screaming, no dramatic goodbye. Just quiet acceptance. The kind that comes when both people know the damage is beyond repair. For a long time I thought that was the end of our story. But 6 months later I got a letter. "Daniel, I know you don't owe me forgiveness, but I need you to know this wasn't just about them. It was about me trying to find a way to live again after losing our child. You were my anchor, but I was drowning quietly. I didn't reach for you, I reached for the wrong thing. Sorry. You deserved better. I hope someday you find peace. Emily." I read that letter 100 times. Each word a reminder of what we'd both lost. Not just a child, not just a marriage, but the fragile belief that love could fix everything. It's been 3 years now. I've rebuilt in small ways. A new apartment. Quieter life. Some nights I still think about her. About how grief can twist people. How love can lead us to choices we can't undo. If there's one thing I've learned, it's this. Betrayal doesn't always come wrapped in lies or lust. Sometimes it comes disguised as sacrifice. And sometimes the worst heartbreak isn't when someone stops loving you. It's when they love you so much, they destroy everything trying to make things right.